And we're live. Let's see if we keep going here. Good. New camera, new setup, new office, new aim, new mission. This is going to be the first podcast or live stream of Equine Advocacy Alliance now. I'll make it brief to just give you guys all, if you haven't been following or not up to date with what's happened. No longer harness racing revolution. The amount of good that's been done, especially protecting the horses in harness racing. We just got there was another arrest last week with a lot of help from New York State Police, led by the United Sheriff's Department, and a nudge also from New York State Gaming. I had been approached by somebody that was really concerned about what was going on, whether there was an investigation or not. Can't tell you, but all I know is 2 days after I made the calls, the person who is in possession of the horses right now, guardianship at the, I don't want to call it a rescue, not so much of a rescue as it is a relocation for those 16, 15, 14 horses that were saved, emaciated, and in disgusting condition. We all know who the person was. There was an arrest 2 days ago in Misty Carry up there. People in harness racing, especially in New York, know what I'm talking about. Anyway, got her. What the actual total of charges there's going to be, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. There'll be a press release. That's up to the Oneida County Sheriff's Department. And that's another win. So I've been talking about this for months with friends behind the scenes, about taking this thing that I'm doing and making it real. And so one thing I did not want anything to do with was 501c3s, donations. This is going to be more structured more as an actual business that offers services. It's going to be everything from advocacy to assistance to direction to representation. There's a list of people, good people in the industry, no longer just from harness racing. This is across the board, every discipline, from pet, pleasure horse, competition, you name it. If there's an issue, myself and the people around me, we know how to handle it, and we're not afraid to handle it. And that's what I'm finding out even in other aspects of the equine industry, is that when people see a problem, they're afraid to talk. Not for fear so much of what they're going to have to deal with. It's just that they are afraid of repercussions from people around them, people in the same industry. So that being said, that's going to be for a different live stream. Tonight, I want to concentrate on what's going on in New York City with the carriage horses. If you've been following along on the group page, long story short, we've never been closer to ending that nonsense. Some power players have finally gotten on board. City council people, councilmen and women, still waiting on Speaker Adams to drop the last foot so we can get a hearing and get this thing pushed through. Anyway, we all know that the Conservancy finally sent the letter itself to the mayor and to Speaker Adams that they no longer want the horses in the park. They are a danger, which they are. They take no responsibility for what they do. They do not accept any accountability for what they do. They don't take any responsibility for the proper care of those horses. Rules need not apply for them. And now you got horses running around the park with 3 passengers in the back and no drivers. That's after the Conservancy made it clear what they want. So right now, there has never been more people, and I say this to Dita Bernkrant, I've said it for a long time, that the most powerful tool we have is social media and the public. It comes down to the public. If this ever makes it to a public referendum, it's a slam dunk. And that's sure as heck not what the horsemen, or I shouldn't say horsemen, I hate to give them the benefit of the doubt of calling them horsemen, the operators of the carriage horses in New York City and their union, TWU Local 100, which I don't think, again, they know what they've gotten themselves into, way over their heads. But We are seeing, I don't know, hundreds of new people just popping up out of nowhere. Residents in New York City, mostly local, closer to the park, the more you see. Kids and tourists and people that are suddenly coming out of the woodwork and making them a name for themselves, that they've gotten so much attention with some of their videos, particularly Christina, you're out there if you're watching, Spare Time Girl. This was a woman that works not too far from the park, visits the park every day, works nearby, lives nearby in Midtown, and did one video, and it's gotten 2 million views now. And she's gotten so much attention that the media reached out to interview her. Now she's on board with us, understands really what's going on, and she's got an amazing personality and attitude toward these people that they try to threaten her and muscle her, and it just doesn't work. She is your typical New York girl, and she just laughs at them. But that being said, I wanted to make a video directed, and this is what happens a lot now, and the more exposure this has gotten, and people looking that are seeing the problems and the issues with the horses in the park, like when I first met Adita 2 years ago, how does this work? I was able to identify the horses, lame, injured, skinny, whatever. We all know that part. But now there's a lot of people that see things or may notice something, may not exactly know what they're seeing, but they do realize something's wrong. And I want to educate the people in general that if you see an issue with these horses in Central Park, whether it be lameness, something just doesn't look right, skinny, injured, breaking the rules, parked where they shouldn't be, picking up fares where they shouldn't be, over by Columbus Circle, Tavern on the Green. It used to just be Columbus Circle, Tavern on the Green, Bethesda Fountain. Now they've expanded to they're stopping anywhere they can to hide on the path, because NYPD and the city are finally saying, and Conservancy, you're getting tickets, and they don't like it. Well, that's what the rules are, and this is one of the biggest problems. They refuse to obey the rules, abide by the rules, and then they break the rules and they get upset when they get a ticket or even a warning. A couple of videos are out there. So what I want to explain to people is, first of all, if you see an issue, the most important things are, first, if it's something to do with the horse physically, and you see that they're struggling, or some people call it head bobbing, us in the standardbred industry and harness racing call it head nodding, behind, if they're hiking, hitching, whatever, it doesn't look right. It doesn't hurt to send it. If you don't feel like you want to send it to the city right away, because when you do it send it to the city as a citizen or a tourist or a visitor to the park, you got to send it to 311. They're not going to see it. We get it to the mayor's office through Alexandra Silver, who is the sole person in the animal welfare department, who then forwards everything that we show her and send her to the DOH, who actually governs this and has the authority to send in the veterinarians. So that's the best way to do it. So if you see something wrong, a horse looks in pain when they're like this, or behind, same thing. Looks like they're having trouble breathing. The easiest thing to do, anything like that, you don't have to be an expert to realize there may be something wrong. You can send it to me. First, you need video of the horse. That's the best. Try to get as much good, steady video as you can. Then, if you can, slide around to the back of the carriage. There'll be a license plate. Some of them are easily, they're visible. Some are hidden. They'll put their little orange triangles over it. They'll be whited out because they don't want to be identified. Try to get that license plate. And most of all, and this is the tricky part, left front hoof of the horse, you will see a 4-digit number branded into their hoof. You may have to get close. If you can get it with your camera, great. But you got to remember one thing. Don't trust these people. Once they understand what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you are us, a resident of New York City, a tourist from France, man, woman, female, child, teenager, it doesn't matter. You will then become a target and you will hear things that you've probably never heard before, not used to. These people have no morals whatsoever, especially when they're caught or called out. So you got to try to be as inconspicuous as possible. So again, license plate of the carriage, video of the horse. If you can get a good shot of the driver, bonus. And then the left front hoof, that 4-digit number that's burned into their hoof, that tells us who the horse is, which tells us everything. You can send it to me. There's a couple of ways. My phone number, 845-703-0504, which is going to change pretty soon. But you can either email it or you can text me, tell me what's going on. I'll give you a way to get the video to me. You can even call me. It doesn't matter. Brief description of what's going on. Or you can send it to the website now for Equine Advocacy Alliance, Mike at equineadvocacyalliance.com, all lowercase. Or if you go to the website, Equine Advocacy Alliance, at the bottom of the homepage, there's a contact box where you can send messages, which will get to me privately and anonymously. So either way works. I will get right back to you one way or the other. But you can gather all the information before ever contacting any of us. Or you can contact Edita Bernkrant from Night Class. Her email is Edita, EDITA, at nightclass, NYCLASS.org. Get hold of her there. Believe me, as soon as we see there's a problem with a horse, there's not any hesitation. So, and the other option is if it's an emergency or you see something in real time, you can regularly, you're going to see NYPD circling the park on the paths, whether they're in marked cars, and there is one black unmarked car. You can usually see that it's an officer inside. And don't be afraid to wave them down and say, "Got this problem. This one is parked here. They're doing this. They're being abusive. They're anything." You have the right to do that. That's their job. Or you can dial, if it's an emergency, obviously 911, or the city line, which is the 311 report it line. Useless. Better off getting it to us. So that's the way. I just wanted to break this in with something about what's going on again with the change in us. Equine Advocacy Alliance is an LLC. It's a business. I am so turned off by everything I've seen in harness racing. The way that it's kind of, well, it's no different than the city, I guess. When you're threatening their livelihood and what they do, which is easy for them, you're going to be the target, calling them out for what they are. But the things that I've seen going on in harness racing, another one happened last night. State vet doing her job, first race, Meadowlands, right on the camera. 8-horse, clearly. I won't go so far as to say lame, because that's the taboo word, but visibly sore to the point where the state vet noticed it. I saw it in the post parade, and then I hear Ken Workington say the whatever 2 minutes post time, but number 8 is over by the paddock making loops, and I knew right away what happened. And sure enough, the cameraman had the whole thing on cameras. I got part of it, which I sent to Jeff Corral, Jason Settlemore, and Bryce Cody. I also called the state vet. I only got the one vet in the detention barn who got a message out to the one that was on the track, trying to convince Beltrami, the driver, that you can see. And then I got messages from inside the paddock from people I will never give up, that horse should have been scratched and somehow raced. And that's how the story ends. It's disgusting. As for what I think about how these 80% of the rescues in harness racing operate, what's done with the funds that they bring in, it's disgusting. And that's why I said I will get involved with rehabs and after the fact, but I will never again get involved with rescues unless it's somehow we do it ourselves, one horse. But when it comes to fundraising for these people, none of them, never again. It's gross. And then to have been alerted to the house, another club in New Jersey is being run, which I was able to confirm. There's actually a drivers club in New Jersey that doesn't operate. I assumed that when you joined these amateur driving clubs, most of them, to become a member, you got to meet their minimum requirements. You pay a membership dues. Your 5% goes to either the kitty or whomever that they choose. But this one is actually being run through the racetrack. It's a club, but it's not its own standalone. And these are the words of the person from that particular track, which I'll leave nameless. That it is a standalone. I'm sorry, it is not standalone. This driving club, and that the 5% is all paid out of the purse account to charities. So my brain and some other people said, so you drive for your 5%. Are you given a 1099 for that at the end of the year? Or does the racetrack choose for the drivers, which it seems as though they do, to pay to some of these organizations, SRF, Purple Haze? There's a whole list of them. A couple of them legit, but I think it's hilarious. I saw one. Purple Haze gets $10,000. Wounded Warriors gets $5,000. And these are also organizations that benefit through the states and are also sponsors of that same racetrack. Who sponsorship, that's business. The 5% that these drivers earn through the year that's kept in the kitty and then donated becomes a tax write-off to a 501c3. It says they must be 501c3s, right? So that money that's being paid out of the purse account, the 5% from all the drivers collectively, would then become tax deductible. Can't make this shit up. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Next one is going to be more about what the goal is with this new endeavor of mine. And it's all about the horses, and it's all about helping people from every facet of the equine industry in this country. Good people that need help. That's it. Catch you all on the next one. Peace.